Good morning, everybody. I'm a ventriloquist, and here's my dummy. I got you. I got you.
Okay. All right. I'll let you have that one. I'll let you have
Okay.
it one.
Good
I
morning,
want to say
everybody.
it's really an absolute honor to be stepping in for the real boss of the show today, and that's one back right at you. No, it's
You
an
want to get
absolute
me in
honor
trouble?
to be asked to come on your show. I genuinely, I'm gratefully honored. Thank you for having me on.
No problem, buddy. Do we do the call letters now or what?
You could go ahead and do whatever you want. I mean, I can do that special one that we have.
Yeah, do that. I like that.
You want that special one?
Yes, sir. That's beautiful.
Okay, I do charge for by the moment for it. You do understand, okay?
You are listening to UPRN, United Public Radio Network, coming to you live on 105.3 right up to 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. UPRNTalkRadio.com.
Wow,
I like that. I really like that.
that's cool, huh? That is cool. You can use that through any of your shows. It's in that thing on the right. So you can use that through it. We've already got lovely people joining us. We've got Dan Lopez
Yep.
and we've got Kelly Durant. And good evening or good morning to you guys, because you guys in the United States. Kathy Hanley says, "Hi, boys." I wonder what kind of an accent she has. Has she got that southern accent? Hi, y'all. I love that accent. No, people with a southern accent, they can talk to me. I like literally, they almost hypnotize me. They do when they're going, "Hey, it's really good to see y'all," and I'm just like,
Yeah,
drift.
you walk in and you go, "How y'all doing today?"
Hey, how are you
Uh-huh.
all doing today? It's really nice to see y'all here. And I loved it. Was a great one of my favorite movies is Sweet Home Alabama. And there's a line that the guy says in the movie which I absolutely love. He goes, "Honey, just because I talk slow don't mean I'm stupid." I loved that line.
It's true
Absolutely
though,
loved it. Yeah.
It's really true.
Well, hey Roger, guess what I was doing today?
What were you doing, sir?
I was test driving a new car.
Oh, you went after that one?
I went after a new, what you would call in the United States, a Nissan. There's a brand new. Oddly enough, talk about having signs, right? We talk about signs in what we do, right? You and
Right.
I, on a regular basis, we look for signs all the time. So I'm driving up to the dealership, and a car comes in the opposite direction, which was my dad's car. You know,
Wow.
have you seen the movie Harry Potter?
No.
No. Well, in Harry Potter, there's a car, and what the car is a Ford Anglia.
Oh,
And
I know what
what
an
comes in
Angie
the
is.
opposite direction? A Ford Anglia, which is my dad's car. And I'm like, oh, okay. And we arrive at and this they brought this model out. It's just literally just come out, and it's called. You and I are both musicians. It's called an aria, which is a
Really?
musical term,
Yeah.
an aria. And I'm like, okay, okay. So I see my dad's car, and then the car is called an aria.
It all went
Wow,
together.
it's just wow. So Kathy lives in Florida.
But
Oh,
she's
she's
from
from Queens, so
Queens.
she's got that sharp accent. I wouldn't want to cross Kathy. She's from Queens in New York. Hey, I'm from New York. Hey, New York. Give me a coffee. I bet she doesn't speak like that at all, really.
No.
She's got a beautiful, soft accent.
No, she talks like, hello, hello, hello.
That's London. How would she speak? Well, it's not even London. It's kind of like twisted London. But London from the 1912s.
Oh, okay.
Kathy says, I live in Florida. I love Florida. I've been to Florida many times.
Too
And
humid.
no, I loved it. I said to Johanna, I said, maybe we should buy a little holiday home in Florida. And so it's on our possibility list. The reason being is the heat. The heat is in fact really good for us, for our joint. I mean, Billy Conley, he lives in Florida because of the heat, because the heat helps him in his conditions. So we were thinking, with Johanna's cancers and my fibromyalgia, um, it's a possibility. It's a possibility.
I lived in Corpus in the Gulf. Same
Yeah.
thing. Man, it's just too humid.
You
Too
didn't
much
like it?
salt in the air. You go like this, and you got a salt line.
I find you don't know what humidity is. You wait to come to the UK. You've no
Really?
idea. Well, God, you've no clue what humidity is until you come over here. Over in Florida, it's bone dry compared to here.
Wow.
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh, you've no idea. Here you'll burn like, really, really quickly. In fact, I personally got sunstroke in Ireland. Ireland. And look how
Ireland's
far up the
north.
equator that is.
Yeah, that's north.
Yeah, really up the equator. I mean, we live in the southernmost part of the UK, and we have a thing called the jet stream. Now, the jet stream is a stream of air warm air that
Yep.
runs, and we get that.
Oh boy.
So, I mean, today, for the last sort of 5 days, really, it's been absolutely toasting hot here. 25 degrees, which I'm not too sure what that is in Fahrenheit. Alexa, convert 25 degrees centigrade to Fahrenheit.
25 degrees Celsius is 77 degrees Fahrenheit.
77 degrees.
Well, it's not that we're going to hit in the 80s this week.
Yeah, 77 degrees with our humidity.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kelly Durant says share. Yes, guys, make sure that you guys share
And
the
hit the
show.
like button.
Hit that smash that like button into oblivion. I'm the one doing all the talking. This is your show.
Yes, I know. I'm just letting you go babble on.
Oh gosh! And when you guys follow our shows on Mondays and Thursdays, very very often, Roger Faye and I will stay after the show and we'll go on for another hour,
Yep.
just chatting, and it's great fun. I don't call these guys friends; I call them my family, and
Thank you, Paul.
I'm blessed
Appreciate
to
that.
to
We
be.
do the same too.
Oh, I feel it as well. Kathy says, "Watch out for us Queens Catholic girls." Oh
Oh.
God, yeah. Well, I was brought up. Well, hey, listen, I was brought up in Ireland. My uncle was the Catholic Bishop of Ireland, so you have no idea. You have no idea. But I know those the Catholic girls in Queens. They fight. Oof,
Yep.
bring it.
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Joe. Welcome to the show. Lynn's joined us as well. Lynn,
Hi,
you're late.
Lynn. Look who's here.
Yeah, look. I
It's
gotta,
like
I
a
gotta sit and
boil.
look at him.
You know, it's like a boil that you can't get rid of.
You honestly, you just. Oh. You're looking in the wrong direction. I'm the other side.
Oh, that
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Now you're looking at me. It's like Laurel and Hardy, isn't
Crazy. Yep.
it? Hello, Kathy's going. Yeah, bring it.
Ooh. Don't
One of
push
my
the
one of
buttons.
our business colleagues is a guy called Pete, and Pete is about 6'5", but he's long hair and a big mustache, and he talks. He gets here, Hey, how you doing? That's the way he talks, and he's from New York. He's from sort of is it Long Island. Is that what you call it? New York. He's from that area. Oh, he's funny guy. I was wondering who Roger was pointing at. Yeah, he's got no sense of direction, Dan, whatsoever. You want to see him drive? He goes in the wrong direction completely.
I'm
Wrong
right.
direction. You know what I mean? It's weird. He drives on the right side of the road for a start. I mean, come
Well,
on.
everybody does.
No, we don't. We drive on the left.
That's you guys because you're backwards.
No, because we do it right.
Tomato, tomato.
Oh yes, potato.
Right.
Long Island, yeah. Pete he's funny. He talks to us every single day, and he goes, "Hey, I'm going hunting today. Hey." That's where he speaks. I love him.
You know, Paul, one time we flew to Long Island, stayed overnight in Queens,
Uh-huh.
and I played in the Bronx.
Wow,
I love the Bronx, man. That's the salt of the earth people.
I can't wait to get up to up there. I'm so looking forward to getting back to America. I feel like I've come home every time I touch the ground in the United States. I feel like I've come home. It's
Maybe
a
you
unique
did in another life.
possibly. there's some evidence in our family. It's kind of like sort of, it's very faint, and some evidence that's giving me impressions that either at the time I went down with the Titanic, because I have a deep seated fear of deep water. I can't. I even went and learned to scuba dive to try and get over my fear of deep water. Bought boats to try and get over my fear. Can't get over it. My fear of deep water. It's, and even when I'm flying to the United States, when they bring up that there's like they do a map comes up on the screen to tell you how far you are, and I'm like, we're only halfway over the Atlantic. Come on, get on with it. You know, how soon are they going to be able to beam us from here to there? I want that.
You know the
So
oddity, Paul. When we flew, we had to go from first we went from San Antonio to Houston, Houston to Atlanta, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia up to New York, New York across to Paris,
wow.
and we're doing this, and I see this big old black line on the sky, and I told the guy, I said, "Oh my God, what is that?" And he goes, "It's night," and I went, "What?" He said, "It's night. It's nighttime." And I said, "Wait a minute, what do you know?" I was totally
Yeah.
confused.
Well,
Wow.
here, let me throw one into your mix for you. We took off from London. We landed in Chicago. We took off from Chicago, and we landed in Dulles. And I landed before I took off, time wise.
Yep, I know that. I understand that.
No, but try messing with your mind. You're like, hang on a second, my watch must be wrong. No, no, no. Your watch is automatic. It automatically my watch automatically acclimatizes itself to wherever I am, and I landed before I took off. How do you figure that out? It's funny.
Well, we left Italy on a Thursday, and we got home to the United States at San Antonio on a Thursday. And I
Well,
went,
I should
wait a
hope so.
minute, how could that be?
Time's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, that's that jet
Albert
lag thing.
Einstein said the closer you get to the speed of light, time slows down. So therefore, it's pliable. There you
Crazy.
go.
Good morning,
Um,
Mary Erickson.
Mary Erickson and Kelly Durant is laughing her head off at us. She thinks we're really funny. I'm
Well,
trying to be the serious one because this is what Faye's serious and she holds it all together. But it's like the Laurel and Hardy of the psychic world here. So
right?
welcome, welcome. So anyway, Roger, what do you want to talk about today? Did you have something in mind?
Well, I'll tell you what. There's so many things. You know, the thing is, Paul, what we do, being psychic mediums, there
Mm,
are so many avenues of this,
yeah.
you know? And you just got to, like, center in on something, and the next thing you know, this one pulls you over that way, and it's just
Hmm.
nuts.
I was talking to this very morning. I love getting up in the morning, first thing with Johanna, and we open the French doors into the garden, and we sit down, and we have. She'll have a cup of tea, I'll have a cup of coffee, and we'll just sit and chat, and the birds will chirp away, and we'll listen to and we'll just chat. It's lovely the first thing in the morning, and I find myself thinking about meditation. And she said, "What are you thinking about?" I said, "I was thinking about the way certain sounds, for us, Roger, it could be. Remember, I asked you. I said, "What's your favorite chord?" And
Yeah.
you were like, when you strum on the guitar, there's a chord that resonates with you, right?
Yep.
And that certain note or that certain sound resonates with you. And when you hit that every single time, it's like, oh yeah, that's the number. And your favorite tunes will also have that chord in it because you resonate with the melody. But I was wondering, do you think? I haven't done any research, but do you think there's a certain chord that might resonate with animals? Certain note, a certain melody, a certain chord that might just
That's a good
resonate
question.
with melody with animals. That if we could recreate, if I could come up with, use our dogs and use them and play different notes and see which one sends them, one into la la land or sends them into like relaxed, then I could then create meditation music for animals that people could play and it'll just keep the animal. The reason, where that all started Again, you haven't seen the movie, but at the very first Harry Potter movie, they go into this room and there's this three-headed dog, and there's a harp playing in the background. But when the harp plays, it sends the dog into a sleep, and that's where I
Oh.
first thought, I wonder if that's real.
You know that that's one instrument that I've wanted to learn?
The harp.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful.
I've seen them. Obviously, being Irish, I've seen them up close. They I mean, what I was more taken by the harp, Roger, was the. I mean, the sound is phenomenal. It's a beautiful sound, but the when you've seen some of the Irish harps and the workmanship that goes into them to create them is just mind-boggling. How somebody sat there with a little chisel thing and made all these beautiful Celtic knots and whatever. You must have seen them yourself.
And the patience to string them and all that.
Oh God, yeah, and then getting them into tune and keeping them in tune.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing, for us to redo a 6 or 12 string guitar, or a lute, or a
I love a
banjo or
lute.
whatever. But sitting there with a harp, wow, that's because it's every single note and variant of the note, isn't it?
I almost bought a lute, believe it or not.
Why not? Why not get a lute? I some of the old medieval music I like, actually.
Yeah.
Greensleeves obviously is the one that jumps to everybody's mind.
Yep.
But when you hear the lute and the flute being played in tandem, it's a beautiful sound.
I like listening to when they have the flute going, they have a guitar going, they have the lute going, and they have some kind of like an upright bass or something.
Yeah.
It's all together. Just like, oh, yeah.
Organic, and it is a real organic sounds. Was listening to a little bit with Tina this morning again. I'm gutted that we've lost the Queen of Rock and Roll. I was listening. One of my favorite tune of hers is "Beyond the Thunderdome." That's my favorite song of hers. We don't need another hero. That one, and I was listening to different live variants that she'd played of it, and some of the sounds. When they were playing just organic instruments like like an acoustic bass and an acoustic guitar. Wow.
You know that she had a stroke and nobody knew?
No?
Yeah, her mouth was kind of deformed,
All right. Yeah, I noticed the way she just talked like that. I just thought that was just her way of talking. In fact, I thought that maybe she had dental work that had gone wrong.
That's what I thought. Yeah, because
Yeah.
she has an indentation right here.
Yeah,
But when she would talk, it was like a lifted lip.
that's right.
Like
A bit
that.
like an Elvis-y kind of a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So she announced that she had a stroke.
Wow.
And she
Well,
told
she
them,
used to work.
they told
so
her
hard.
that they told her, you're having a stroke. You're crazy. She goes, then they said, no, you're having a stroke right now. We're going to take you to the hospital. She goes, get out of here. She goes, let me go. Plop! Face first onto the floor.
Stroke.
Yep.
Oh, Kathy Hanley saying, "Silly Saturday, boys." It is silly Saturday. I just got a solar fountain, says Kathy, for outside my porch because I love the sound of water and wind chimes. Totally agree with you with that
Yep.
one, Kathy. Totally agree with you on both aspects. The sound of water. Johanna wants a water fountain kind of a thing at our new home, and I totally agree because the sound of water just relaxes me straight off the bat. I used to love to sit beside brooks and rivers and listen to that, the babbling brooks, all that sound. Love it.
I used to
How many?
I used to sit by Brooke too, but Faye got jealous.
Dan is asking how many octaves are on a harp. I guess it's probably down to how big the harp is, isn't it?
Yeah.
'Cause there's different
I
sizes.
mean, there's like low, and high, so you'd have to
Alexa.
go through it.
How many octaves in a harp?
7?
From keyboardmag.com. To oversimplify, the harp is diatonic and can play a maximum of 7 notes in a repeating scale that covers over 6 octaves.
6 octaves.
Okay. I thought it would be 7.
7 notes in the 6 octave scale.
Okay.
Diatonic.
Right. They make
He's looking at me going,
accordions.
"The
No,
heck
I
is
know what diatonic. I have an accordion that's diatonic.
I have no idea. That's the first time I've ever heard diatonic.
It's one note in and one note out.
Ah, right. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Boy,
Well
you
done.
learn
That there
something
you go.
every day.
I tell you what, I love learning. I love it. See, I'm really what's the right word here? See, Roger is what I would refer to, ladies and gentlemen, as
Knowledgeable.
a true musician. A true musician, where he plays 9 different instruments. So he plays multiple, and whereas I play those instruments, but I play them from an electronic basis. So I'll use synthesizers that recreate the sounds that Roger uses organically. So I bow to his knowledge, not the other way around.
Paul, do you ever see the show called Born in East LA?
I haven't, no.
If you get a chance to watch that, because there's a guy that plays an accordion
Hmm.
and he's got a patch on his eye.
Right.
That's the very first guy I played for
Oh, really?
in Texas, yes. And
Okay.
he told me, he says, in fact, I was supposed to be in the show 2 weeks before and I quit the band. But anyway, he told me, he said, why go and try to teach somebody what you want them to record? He said, you record it and up their volume on each piece, like on the bass, the
Yeah.
guitar, whatever. He said, and give them a copy of what it is so they can learn it, not you teaching them.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, because you do that when you're teaching them in the studio, that time is money.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
As soon as you walk in the door of a studio, you're starting to pay for it.
so I tell everybody, they say, you want me to play bass? No, I can do it. You want me to play drums? No, I got it.
I love the
Yeah.
sound of the bass as well. Um, the band Coldplay, they are a really really great organic band. I would say they're probably one of the best organic bands around today. Would you agree?
Yep. And I'm going to give you another one. If I don't know, do you like fusion music?
Well, it depends on which musics are fused, but yeah.
There's a band called Kononia.
All
It's
right, I've
with a
heard of
K.
that. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Oh boy, try to keep up with those guys. And then I find out Kononia is a park in California.
Ah, okay.
But you listen to those guys, and man, there's something else.
I was used to listen to a band called they were called Soup Dragon, and but they fused like um what's the right they fused reggae with it was called space reggae.
Wow.
So it was all the reggae melodies with a very synthy melodic Jean-Michel Jarre kind of a way. So and with a bit of sort of wrapped into that. Oh, amazing music, amazing musicians. Because it's a difficult thing to do. People just think you hit a note and the delay carries it on for however long you want it, but you got to then reincorporate the beat into that beat and into that delay pattern. Oh, quite difficult. But
Did you ever see the special of the guy? I think he was in the band The Doors,
mhm.
and he did that opening for In the Garden of Vida.
No, I haven't seen that.
Well, apparently, from what I understood, he also invented the Moog.
He invented. Well, no, Doctor such and such Doctor.
But that guy did that solo.
He probably played it on the Moog, but no doctor. In fact, he died recently. Actually, the gentleman who invented the Moog synthesizer, he died
That
recently.
was when I saw the Moog, the original Moog with
Yeah.
all the wiring and all
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah.
I went, what the hell? How can you understand that?
Well, the thing is, as well, what Moogs were, well, all the original synthesizers, they had a big problem in keeping in tune because they were valve driven. So
Wow.
what happened is on stage when you had, and back in those days, you remember it, Roger, when we had the park hams and on the Super Troopers, and so everything heated up really
Oh
really
yeah. Then it
quick,
changes.
and so then what would happen? The Moogs would go out of tune.
Yep.
So, and they go out tune really, really quickly. I mean, today it's chip driven, which is everything stays quite good. But back in those days, I remember back in those days, I was playing in a band over here, which was really quite well known, called Naked Flame. And back in those days, I was quite thin, but I'd have my clothes made for me, so I had leather trousers and leather jackets on stage, and with these lights on your face. Oh God, yeah. Oh my God. The reason I stayed thin is because I come out and literally emptied out my jacket when you come off stage. Literally, your t-shirt would be like you just walked through a shower. So I remember those days. But you know what, buddy? We did that. Those are days we can sit back and enjoy. We did that.
Yeah, because well, a lot of times we're drinking water or something to keep
Yeah.
us going too. You know.
Oh, come on, tell the truth. You had a beer on stage.
No, beer will go right through you right away. You
Well,
know.
I never drank beer on stage because it would affect the vocals. So I always drank just water. Always just water on stage.
Well, I thought it looked kind of like not hokey, but you know when you bring a beer on stage. I used to play for this guy, God rest his soul, and he would drink a beer like that and just throw the bottle on the stage.
Wow.
And I'm going like, dude, where's, what kind of couth is that,
Yeah.
But that's what they were. They
Rock
did
and
it.
roll. Rock and roll.
You know what I saw yesterday, Paul? Last
Yeah.
night I was watching. I was so intrigued with it too. It was a special about Tina Turner,
Right.
and then right after that special, I watched one on Doc Severinsen,
Right. Doc Severinsen.
for the trumpet player for the Tonight Show.
Right. Gotcha.
Man, and what did he do? He was married to this lady, and he just walked away from her. He said, "I can't do this anymore," and he walked out. And next thing you know, he went to California to go do another concert because he had a heart attack or something.
Yeah.
And he went to go do another concert. And while he was there, he met this girl who played trumpet.
Okay.
Next thing you know, they start talking, they start playing together, and they hit it off. Bang, they got married.
Okay.
And it was like, am I supposed to go look for another guitar player or what? But thank God Faye plays piano. Thank God of that. I bought her at what is it, 360 something or other, or
Yeah.
350.
Yes, I saw that one you bought for her. Yeah. Is she playing it?
No,
Just give them time. Give them time.
yeah.
The amount of instruments that I bought for my children that are lying by the wayside, honestly, I've spent hundreds of thousands on my kids in instruments over the years, and my son is a very good, very gifted guitarist. Maya is gifted, but she doesn't play enough. But she has got a voice on her. She's got her dad's pipes.
Well, I have a grandson. Now listen to this one. I have a grandson that plays bass, and he's very good. And I
Yeah.
said, well, you know what? I said, why don't you take my bass amp and take it home with you? And he goes, is it any good? I went, what? He goes, yeah, is it any good? I said, you're talking to a professional bass player here, and you're going to ask me that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got old stuff. Oh, excuse
That's
me.
the best stuff.
Yep,
The old
you
stuff
bet.
is the best.
It is. I have a lot of PV equipment.
I remember watching, who was it? I noticed that Kathy says she loves Zeppelin and the Foo Fighters.
Good bands.
Um,
Good bands.
What's his name? Dave Grohl of the Foos, and he has like a warehouse kind of a thing, and he has, I mean, so many amplifiers and so many cabinets and so many all of these huge amount of foot pedals and stuff. And what he does is he opens it up and invites the local kids to come in and play with them
Oh,
all.
that's
He
cool.
does that, which is just, I mean, I've got so much respect for Dave Grohl. I'm not a big fan of their music. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of their music per se, but because I'm not into that kind of thrashy, metally kind of stuff. But but for him as a person, oh, hats off. Same thing with Meatloaf. I wasn't really a massive Meatloaf music fan, but as a person, he was a nice guy.
You need
Like
to watch him in the show called The Black Dog.
okay.
Oh, man, I seen acting, but and that one, holy moly, he was a good actor.
Yeah, I mean, bless his heart. He had a very, very troubled life,
Yeah.
and a lot of good musicians seem to have had a very troubled life. It's amazing that's the case. But you notice while we're sitting here chatting, and people are joining in with the chat, which by the way, I'm loving. Is because as we're chatting about stuff that is bringing great joy back to us in our memories and what we did,
Yep.
that's what we try and tell people to do on a daily basis. Every day
Yes.
is a new opportunity to have a great day.
Hi,
And
Ronnie.
oh yeah, hi Ronnie, how are you? Good to see you. Um, thanks for being here, by the way. So I tell my kids the stories about all of the stuff that all the tours we used to do, and the touring and the negative sides of touring. There was lots of negatives. It wasn't all the glamour that people see on the stage. There's a lot of stuff behind the stage, behind the
That's
scenes that you don't
yes.
get to see.
Behind the scenes, man. People go, "Oh, you play in the band? How cool!" And I go,
Yeah,
"Really?"
really. Yeah. Come and tell me that after you've done 32 nights in a row, tours, um, and you literally you can't remember. I remember walking on the stage one night, Roger, and I was so tired I could not remember the words for Mustang Sally. And I was the guys kicked off, and I'm like thinking, "Oh sugar, I can't remember the first line." And I went over to the bass player. I said, "What's the first line?" And he goes, he said, "I have no idea." So I walked over to the guitars and I went, Steve, and he goes, "Yeah." I said, "What's the first line?" And he goes, he went, no idea. So
Oh
I went through
boy,
two more musicians, keyboard player and the drummer, and none of us could. So what's the first line of Mustang Sally?
the name of the song, Mustang
In the name
Sally.
of the song, yes. And none of us could remember. And as soon as I got it, of course, I mean, I was a professional, so I got the whole crowd going, and I made it look like I was
Yep,
elongating
building
the
it up.
start, building it all up. And I said, "Come on, you guys, you gotta sing Mustang." And then I went, click, of course, it's Mustang Sally. And then off we went, and we got it. But I remember that because we were so tired. People think, "Oh, you're lucky, you play in a band. Try doing a
Right.
tour." And then
Yep.
it's why, guys, it's why you see these professional musicians burning out. They've had enough. They're tired,
Yep.
and then they start taking stuff to try and keep going.
Yep.
And
Checkout
they
time
can't.
is 9:30, and then be on the flight. And you're on the
Yep.
flight. You get there. Sound check is at 4. Go to
I
your room
remember.
if you're lucky.
I literally remember walking into a venue, walking into the dressing rooms, taking off the clothes I was wearing, drinking a pint of water, putting on my stage clothes, walking out onto the stage, finishing the show, walking back into the dressing rooms, putting on my normal clothes, and walking onto the bus.
Yeah, that's about it.
And you quickly grabbed whatever sleep you could when you could grab it.
Yep. Or you get somebody to come on, man. Let's go out and have a beer. Now.
Let's go
Get the
party.
hell
Let's go
away from
party.
me.
No, get away from me. No.
Oh god.
And the weird thing about it is you I mean, it's not. It's what I'm about to share with you guys isn't the truth in itself. It's just words. You get to the point where you think, "I hate this. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yep.
Don't talk to me anymore. Don't call me anymore. I don't want to do this anymore." And but you don't. It's just because you're tired. And I
And
mean,
then you take a couple of days off and you call up. When's the next gig?
yeah. When are we rehearsing again? When is the time we start the next album? All that kind of stuff.
God's honest truth. I wasn't one of those partying guys, to go all night and all that. My thing, Paul, every city we went to, believe it or not, I would go to churches
Yeah.
and sit in a church and just,
Oh, I do that now. I do that right now. How many times have I showed you guys took pictures of the cathedral, and I sit in the cathedral and just go, oh, like that, because nobody's gonna. Well, actually, that being said, somebody did, but because I went and sit in the church because nobody come and talk to me, because people leave me alone.
when we played in Santiago, Spain, I
Yeah.
remember I went into the church, the cathedral there, and I took a lot of pictures, but I sat there for about 3 hours
Oh, I can understand that.
just absorbing it all, and
Yeah.
just, I was just at home for some odd reason.
The energies are just phenomenal, aren't they?
And
And
then they,
there's
okay,
a
we gotta
clarity of
go.
thought, isn't there?
Yeah,
When you're sitting in a church, Roger, do you get like I don't know if you get the same as me, but when you're sitting there and I mean, first and foremost, I love the architecture, love it,
yep,
the
that's what I do.
architecture, and you're looking and you think people built this church when there weren't machines, there weren't
Right.
any kind of, so they did everything by hand. Um, so I love taking that all in, and then there's a clarity when you're sitting in the church, and your mind just goes clear. There's no hustle and bustle. There's no 900 miles an hour thinking. There's just a clarity and there's a peace that just transcends you that you just don't get anywhere else. You could sit in your own house and at home and nobody there, but there's still not a clarity that you get when you're sitting in a church. You get, I don't know, but you,
It when It's like saying the ultimate meditation.
yes,
You know, I don't want to do nothing. I don't care about phones. I don't care about the outside world. Just leave me alone
yeah,
and let me just sit.
yeah.
Oh, there's my niece. Hi, Patty.
Uncle Roger.
Yep.
Hey, Kathy just said, I just put two crystal balls from a chandelier into the fountain. Oh, yeah, I can imagine the light being
Right?
mind-boggling there.
I like what Mary Erickson says. She told her boys that she would listen to the train whistles,
Yeah,
you know, and there are some that, like she said, that yes, they're a chord.
yeah, it's
They'll
a chord.
take
Yeah,
three horns and put them together as a chord.
yeah. There's usually harmonics there.
Right. The
Yeah.
Cadillacs did that too.
The Cadillacs had the harmonical horns. Yeah, that's
Yep.
right. You used to have dual horns. That's right. Yes, a lot of big trucks in the United States had them as well. Big rigs.
And here's one that you'll like. This is what I told Faye about this. She said, "What? How'd you figure that out?" And I said, "Trust me, I know what I'm saying." You know what a Piper Cub is?
A Piper Cub airplane.
Yes.
Yeah.
When it's directly over your head, it's an E chord.
Oh, really?
Yes. She said, "How did you ever figure that out?" I said, "One day I was outside just go strumming away, and all of a sudden I heard it. I was listening, and I kept twisting my ear, and I said, I know I heard that before." And I went, boom, and there it was.
The E chord.
Yeah. And then
I've
she
got.
goes, "You're weird."
Have you brought your guitar into the office yet?
No. I don't know if we're allowed to play on, otherwise I'd be
No, we're
strumming like crazy.
apparently we're not. But I can't play mine because it's not plugged in. But
Oh, cool. That's got drum beats on it too?
drum. Well, they're trigger pads.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, I can play. I can play the drums all through that, and I can affect the drums with all of these things here, and then obviously play the synth. So all of on the last album, the entire last album was written on this little keyboard.
Wow. And you know what we call those, Paul? We call those the cheater.
A cheater.
Because it's
I can
not
understand
real
that.
music.
Well, it's real music because music is sound. Music is
Right,
frequencies
but what
and
I'm
sound.
saying is not the instrument itself, you know what I
Well,
mean?
that's an argument that can be. I mean, if you could turn around and say, and that's an argument that the musical union had a big hoo ha against the synthesizer, but the people who invented the synthesizers and then and created the electronic instruments, then they went, well, okay, then take every single electric guitar off the market. And that's exactly what happened. The guys who were going, "Oh, it's not real music." When what? It's electronic pickups. It affects the sound, so therefore it's not real, according to you. And everybody went, "Oh yeah, I see your point." All this does is creates that sound through electronic bases, but so is the pickup on your electric guitar.
But the
It picks
pickup
up the sound,
enhances the sound.
and so does the electrodes. So
Okay, maybe.
realistically speaking, when your pickup, which is for all intents and purposes a microphone, it picks it up, it takes the frequency because it's frequency or sound is just waves that move at different frequencies. It takes that, it enhances those waves, sends them down through a lead. So therefore, the when it goes through from an electronic pickup into a lead, therefore organic part of it is gone because it's now electronic, and then it sends it into an amplifier, which then changes it again through valve states, sends it out, and you get Roger your sound.
Did you ever see the special that Les Paul, the guy who invented Les Paul guitars, did you ever see the special he did?
I may have. I find stuff like that mega interesting. I love stuff like
He
that.
showed he took a magnet and then he started putting copper wire around it.
Right.
And he said, "This is a pickup," and we're all like, "What?"
Yeah,
And
the
yeah,
resistant, to create resistance, wasn't it, to
oh,
make
that,
the
that
sound
man
change?
was
Yeah.
a genius,
Oh
way
gosh, yeah,
beyond.
yeah. But you see my point. So where people were having full on goes at people who played synthesizers, who and they called it no, you can't. And then, but the thing that made me laugh was they were saying synthesizers shouldn't be allowed because they're not real music. Yet these people all had organs.
Yeah, yep.
So hang on a second, you can't have your cake and eat it. You either choose. But anyway, the fact of the matter is, from the days of what we spoke about before, from the days of just banging on two pieces of hollow wood to the drum, to then understanding that the tighter that you pull the skin, it made a different tone, right through to when they first made the first chord, which was string over a box, by the way.
Right.
And then they realized that they put six of these together, they could create all of the chord sequences, and then that became the guitar. And then you had the lute and all of from that. Basically, what I'm saying is instruments just kept changing and growing to the point where we got synthesizers.
I remember watching the special about this guy who they talking about guitars. This guy went and his mother got mad at him. He took nails and nailed them on the house on the outside, on the top and on the bottom, and then he put wire, and he would pull on it to give it a different sound, and each wire was different, and he would go bloop 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 bloop, running his fingers on it.
Wow.
What are you doing? Look what you did to the house and all that. He would listen, Mom, listen, boom, boom, and he would take his finger and go like this. God, it was weird, but it
Oh,
made
your
sense.
wife's turned up, buddy. Your wife is the boss is in the house. The boss is here.
Well, we'll let her think that.
Oh no, she's the boss. I'm not. Hey, I'm not. I'm not going to challenge her.
Hi, baby.
Like, see how quickly
Yeah,
us
right.
ladies are getting ready to leave DL. They're having a great time. Says Patty.
Okay.
I don't know where DL is. What's DL?
Where'd he go? Detroit Lakes, I think it was.
Downtown Los Angeles.
No, it's way up in Minnesota.
Gotcha. Kathy Hanley says that's how I felt when I went to Mary, Queen of the Universe Church. Ah, there you go. When did my ballet exercises? I used to play Claire de Lune on our German Shepherd used to fall. All right, okay. Let's try and listen what the Claire de Lune is. Herbert Lopez says, "Hey y'all, good to see you." And
That's
everybody
hey,
saying hi.
Herbie, I had White Castles last night. Faye didn't like that, but I did it.
When the cat's away.
Right. Paul, have you ever taken apart a Fender Rhodes?
God, no.
They work on the tuning fork is.
Yeah.
They work in that sense. They have like it's all metal. Now
Yeah.
a piano has a little hammer,
Yeah.
okay, and it hits the string.
Yep.
Well, these have hammers that are metal hammers that hit metal,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
and
like a
they're
tuning
all
fork.
like
Yeah.
some are different lengths because of the sound,
Yeah.
and they're like tuning forks.
They're very unique sound.
Oh yeah, I just had one and I got rid of it because it's too damn heavy for me.
Oh, what is it? They're heavy keyboards. Yeah.
Yeah, and
They're
why they
very very
make them
heavy.
so heavy? Just
But they're like, there's so many great hits have been written on the Fender
yep.
Rhodes.
But it's like you said, the old stuff is the good stuff.
Well, the old stuff is a good stuff, but then you're getting companies now that are, I mean, even Rhodes themselves, the new Fender Rhodes, it doesn't weigh anything like the old one did. But you have a lot of these companies, like Moog, for an example, or Yamaha, or any of the, or Roland, for an example. They're coming up with these signs that are literally spot on accurate, but they weigh a fraction of the weight.
Right.
But no, we're going back to practicality now. That as well as I do, half of the tiredness is humping the gear in and out. And when your gear weighs a fraction of what it used to weigh, it then you can get away with it. So it's cool.
Well, here, I'll give you one, Paul. My back is all crooked and everything because of the fact that me and this guy he had a B3 organ.
Oh yeah, Hammond B3.
Yeah, you know what they weigh.
Yeah.
And his was chopped though. The legs were chopped, but
Okay.
and he put like handles on it so you could lift it.
Did he
But
have a
still,
Leslie with it?
yeah, the 147. The body of it, just weighs a ton. And he was getting into the van backwards,
Yeah.
and his foot slipped, and I
Oh.
held on to my end and just wrenched my whole left side.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
walk crooked. My
I come
my
out. I come out of the van because all musicians know what you just got to say the van. That's what everybody knows.
right,
I come out and we were carrying a bass speaker, not a bass guitar speaker, but the bass, of the speaker system for the PA.
right.
And of course, I slipped and went over on my ankle, holding,
Ow.
yeah, and I held on to it, and I had to do the entire gig sitting on a stool with a bag of frozen peas over my ankle, and I had actually broken it. I'd actually
Mm.
broken the ankle, but I still did the show. The show must go on.
Yep, God, I know that.
Dawn says, "Whoop whoop! I made it. I've been pouring crystal tree pyramids. Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing your stuff, Dawn. Don't forget, you got to send that stuff to me." Dawn Faye says, "I had to stop in, but gotta go now. See you later, Roger." She just wanted to see if I was actually going to turn up. She says, "See you later, Roger."
I
Not not
know,
not
not
see you
honey,
later.
right?
Not me.
No, but
See you
but
later,
look
Roger.
at the reference to me though, Roger,
She loves
not
you.
honey.
Oh no, actually, there's another way of looking at it. She could go because she heard what you did last night. She could be going, "I'll see you later, Roger."
Thanks, Paul.
So you
Oh
can look
Lord,
at that from a different point. You see you
Paul, do
later.
you to take you back in time? Do you recall what a thing was called a Vegematic?
I can't say I do.
Okay, you would take a potato after it's all skinned and everything. Take a potato, put it in there, and you press down, and you'd have French fries.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, we had one, but the other blade, the cross blade, broke, so it was only single.
Yeah, so you had big discs.
Right, so stupid me put the potato in and like pushed on it, and I pushed on it too far, and I cut this finger,
Oh yeah.
and Paul, I had to play that night.
Oh,
So I'm playing, and this girl screamed real loud. I went, "What? What's the matter?" She goes, "Look at your hand." I was blood all over
blood
the
dripping
place.
down. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh,
Right, this is going to become one of those shows, folks. We're gonna go one up on each other. But Lynn says, "Why didn't you employ roadies?" Lynn, when you start out, you can
right.
barely
You're
afford
the
your
roadie.
equipment. When you first start your show, the very first thing you do is you try and get about 6 or 7 shows in so you can afford a microphone, and then humping the gear about is part of what you do. It's what you're training. You need to learn about it. Then when you become a little bit more well known, you can afford to have roadies
Yep.
to the point where we had 2 sets of gear. We had a gear that we were using and another set of gear that went ahead of us to the next show. It was so big. So we had literally two sets of kit and two sets of teams to put it up. So no, yeah, yeah.
Did you see what my wife put after
She
you
said,
said that?
"I'll see you later, dear Paul." And I can hear her voice going, "See you later, my darling Paul." See, she's going to you. See you later, Roger. Got it. Mary says, "Good morning." Good morning, Mary. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
It's good.
Oh boy.
It's good to see. So this one-man upmanship, right? Here's the one-man upmanship. And yes, and I did the show. I had to go. I had toothache, and I had to go to the dentist. So I went to the dentist, and dude, he took out all 4 of my wisdom teeth.
Ooh.
4.
Ow.
In total, I had 12 stitches in my mouth, and I still had to go and do the show.
Oof.
Yeah. No, I mean before I was getting there, I was like, oh, well, I'm dribbling, but so each gum had 3 stitches in it, so 12 stitches in total,
Oh.
and I took a shot of. If you're going to do this again, Roger, try this. Do you guys have port? You know the drink port,
Yeah.
right? Get yourself a port. Probably the better of all of the ports is better, but don't drink it. Don't drink it. You just sip it. Just sip it and let it roll down your throat. Sip it and let
It's
it roll.
whiskey, right?
No. Port is fortified wine. It's a wine.
Really?
Yeah. It comes from a wine. And you sip it, and I tell you what, I learned this here from a sergeant major in the army. He used to have a port before he'd roar at the troops. Because I went to do a show one night, and I was hoarse. I was really hoarse, and he said, "Come with me." So and he gave me this port, and I thought, "Girly drink." And he said, no, sip this. Take it on stage with you and just sip it. And you know what? Not only did my hoarseness go away, but it stayed away.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you go to do shows again, just a little tip and just sip it and let it roll down your neck more like a medicine rather than an alcoholic drink.
I'm gonna try that because I still got that thing in my throat, and you can hear my voice cracking.
Just sip it. Just a normal, what you would call a shot. Although American shots tend to be bigger than ours, but just a normal shot. About the thumb amount in the bottom of your glass, thumb width, and just sip it. And I promise you, it really, really, really works. Amazing.
Try that.
I've been chasing my own tail this week, says Dawn. I will get some pics whilst the sun is still. Yeah. Because Dawn produces beautiful spiritual goods, like crystals and various bits and pieces like that. So I've said, send it across, and I will put it up on the website so all of our listeners and all of our followers can see the equipment, see the stuff that you produce, and order it direct. So, yeah.
She also said when you had your teeth pulled out, you must have sounded like Scooby-Doo.
Oh, dear sweet Lord, please tell me again why I'm here.
You are listening to UPRN, United Public Radio Network, coming to you live on 105.3 right up to 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. UPRNTalkRadio.com.
To do that because your wife told me.
Yeah.
Don't forget to do the IDs.
Yeah, but she
Sugar,
didn't tell you to cut me off.
Yeah, but that was the whole idea. So.
Oh, Lord.
Oh.
Hello, Anne Marie.
Oh,
I'll tell you.
let's have a look. So Dawn, silver spray is best. Colloidal silver spray is the best. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Port is, and it tastes better. Anne Marie says hi. Hi, Anne Marie. Welcome to the show. So Roger, come on. Have you got any questions for Roger today? Because I'm actually
Yeah,
Faye.
Paul's my guest, believe it or not.
I'm Faye. Hi. Hi, y'all. She doesn't sound like that. I'm going to get an awful telling off for this. So,
Oh, Lord.
So, come on, you guys must have questions for. I'm the audience today. I love this part. So let me be the audience. Put your questions to Roger, and then I can tell him when he's wrong.
Lord,
Can you
I
imagine
am
what it's
not
going to be like?
worthy. I
Can you
am not
imagine
worthy.
what it's going to be like when we're doing our live shows?
Oh, you kidding?
When we're on stage, it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah,
You guys are just going to want us to come on and do it. In fact, we probably end up not being able to do live shows. We'll just do a TV show, a TV special.
that'd be good on that one. I like that. Anyway,
So,
here we are. Today is Saturday.
mm,
We're in the morning, and it's going to be 11:30 a.m. For you, it's going to be what, Paul? 5:30.
it's almost 5:30 p.m. here in the UK. Yeah,
Right.
GMT, which stands for Greenwich Mean Time.
Okay. I often wonder what that meant.
Greenwich. Greenwich is the central for time in this part of the world. So the Greenwich Mean Time is where all the London, Ireland, and everything in that band sets its time.
Got it.
So I went and
Definitely
got a haircut
cities.
yesterday. I don't know if you noticed. You guys didn't notice. Like I had a haircut. I said to the lady, I said, "Hey, any chance you can make me look like Roger?" And she says, "Oh, I just don't have the strength." I said, "Okay." I said,
Oh,
I want to look
Lord.
like Roger." And she
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. This guy just came in on a whim, you know. And,
goes, I said,
oh,
"I want to look like Roger." She goes, I don't have the strength." I said, "Okay,
oh God.
just make it short then."
It's hurting my throat to laugh. I might need that port.
Laughter is the medicine to cure all.
Yeah, but this hurts right here. It's been hurting
Hey,
for
did
months.
you always did you take Faye with you to your shows when you do your
I
shows?
have to, Paul, because one day I was driving, and I think I told you this. One day I was driving, and I had a stroke. Everything went black on me.
Oh yeah, you did share that. Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I do not drive alone anymore.
Well, that's a good thing for multiples of reasons. Not just because you had a stroke, but when you're coming back from a show, how many times have you had what I refer to as the nods? You're driving on, you're going.
Oh
Like that.
yeah.
Well, the reason I used to take my wife to shows, the reason I used to take her with me is so I didn't have to kiss her goodbye. So,
Makes sense. You really want to
oh
get
my
me in
goodness.
trouble today, don't you?
Oh, God, you're easy to get in trouble. It's like, if you were a fish, I wouldn't even have to put bait on the hook.
Jump on! Oh Lord!
So Kelly, everybody's laughing. That's what it's all about. That's it. That's what it's all about. It's about laughter. I thought it shrunk in the wash. So my hair shrunk in the wash. I noticed when I cut my hair cut, it goes darker though. Have you noticed that?
That's because you got rid of all the gray. Look at my hair. It's gray on this
Yeah, but
side.
hang on a minute, Roger. You're how old are you now?
72.
72 years old, and you still got a hell of a head of hair, and it's still dark.
Thank the Lord.
You count yourself lucky, buddy.
Yeah.
My father was literally white by the time he hit 25.
Wow.
So all my family and even my friends, actually one of my friends made a reference to it the other day, that I use hair dye. They went all because they're all gray and white at the minute, and one of them was saying, "Oh, just because you're on TV, you use hair dye." And I went, "No, I bloody don't. I don't dye my hair at all.
Nor do I. I mean,
I dyed my hair in the
everybody said-
80s when I was, silly, but not now."
well, they told me you should dye your hair, and I look at them. Why?
Because you look like a badger.
I'm in Wisconsin.
Well, you've got it looks like you've got an eagle feather coming down the left side of your hair where there. It looks very Native American. It's very cool.
It's real. Look at.
What do they call it? There's a name for it. Is it called a Malin streak? Is that what they call it? A Malin streak?
I don't know.
It's the same streak that what's her name has in sugar. What's her name? Character. What's the name of that family? And they're all dead. But it's a comedy. It's a comedy show. and the Uncle Fester and all that. What are they?
Oh, the Adams family.
Yeah. So the lady has the gray streaks going up her hair, so they're called Malin streaks, I think.
Okay.
Dawn says I've had every color of the rainbow.
Sounds like my daughter.
Anne-Marie says my 6-year-old has natural strands of white running through her hair. Yeah, some young children do. Maya had one or two little gray strands running through, and she was like, "Oh my god!" I thought she was going to lose her mind. And I said, "Baby, it's in your genes, it's in your DNA. You don't have any choice in the matter. It's some people have gray hair from a very, very, very early age in life, but that's just who cares, What the hey." Morticia, thank you, Mary. Morticia, that was it. She got two streaks of gray or Malin streaks, as they're
And
called.
it was Yvonne DiCarlo, too.
Or Dan was saying, or was it the Munsters? But I've the Adams and the Munsters find were basically the same. That was it. I couldn't
No,
tell the
Yvonne
difference.
DiCarlo was with the Monsters, okay? Carolyn Jones was Morticia.
Gotcha. Dee 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 dee
Yep.
dee 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 dee.
And John Aston. Now, you remember John Aston, the husband?
Yeah.
He married Patty Duke.
Was that the Mexican chap? Is he
He
a
was a
Mexicano?
Mexican?
Which one of the, or is that the newer versions of these?
Oh, you're thinking of Raul. Oh, God, what was his name again?
Well, with a name like that, he's not Mexican.
No,
Raul.
he was Puerto Rican.
Oh, same. Not a big distance apart, really. Come
Puerto
on.
Rican or Cuban, but he wasn't, And it was Raul something.
God, it's so hot here today. I'm stuffed. I'm actually getting quite stuffed up. It's so warm. But yeah, he's quite cool. I'm a big fan of what's his name who plays Puss in Boots?
Oh, Antonio
Mexican.
Banderas.
Banderas. Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
My name is Puss in Boots. I think he's
I have a
brilliant.
friend of mine, Paul, you might not believe this, but I have a friend of mine who also does what we do,
Uh-huh.
and he's in Texas, and Antonio Banderas was at his house
Yeah.
because he also does remedies,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and he wanted something done, so
I think he's a very down to earth guy. I think he's
yeah,
he's not
he
one of
said
these.
he was.
He's a
said he
very
was.
he just it's just a job that he does. I love people like that. When I sat with Bono, when I was sitting with Bono was very down to earth. Very all we wanted to talk about was football, in fact. And the weird thing about it was he wanted to talk to me about football, and I have no interest in football. So I tried to I tried to sound like I knew what I was talking about, but I didn't. But,
The
uh,
person that I want to meet right now or sit down and talk with is an actor named John Leguizamo. I think that's his last name.
yeah,
He's Puerto Rican, but he talks about getting Latinos more involved on the screen.
yeah.
And I'm thinking, gee whiz, if I could get him to back me up on what I do, it could be a bigger production.
You got to go for it. Go for every
Yeah.
opportunity. So y'all listen to us today. I hope you're enjoying the show. If you're all enjoying the show, let us know. Give us a wee yes or no, or and if there's something that you want to talk about, if you want there's any questions you want to put directly to Roger, do it. Come on, sure. Don't just sit there and listen. Get involved. It's called a chat show, not a chat
Yep.
show between me and him. We can do that over the phone.
Right.
My 6-year-old, I've read Anne-Marie's 6-year-old having hair, little white strands of hair. I bet he's beautiful though. I bet he is really beautiful. The So if you got any questions and really put really hard ones to him, I want to see him sweating. So put hard questions to him. I want to I want to see you sweat. So no. Yeah, get me a coffee. Go on, hurry up. So Kathy says, so if you're enjoying the show, yes, like Kathy, just tell us a yes. Just type a little yes, but share the show and don't forget to
Share
hit
the
that
show,
like
hit the
button.
thumb, the like.
Hit
Yep.
that like button. Smash that like button into oblivion.
Because it's not every day that I put up with this guy, so you gotta
See
have
ya.
a heart.
Hey, listen, I wore this especially for you today. Look at that.
Oh boy, I'm honored.
Especially for you.
Was that a stain that I seen?
Was that what?
A
Sting?
stain?
A sting?
I always do that to Faye. When she puts on a nice pair of slacks or something, I'll go to her and go, is that a stain? And she'll go, where? Oh, Lord. Sir? Oh, Lordy. Yeah, it is Abbott and Costello, all right. Wow.
Yeah, but who's Abbott? Who's Costello?
Right?
You're definitely Abbott.
Abbott is the one that would slap him around. Oh, I like that.
Well, Costello's the intelligent one.
What is a hard question for a medium? Senor?
What's a hard question for me? I don't know. It's your show. You answer it.
No, come on. I'm throwing it to you.
No, it's your show.
Boy,
I'm just waiting for you to answer it. Then I can tell you whether you're right or wrong.
The world according to Garf, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
What is it? I mean, actually, do you know what? I really, I don't know about you, Roger, but I love being challenged. But I love being
Yes.
challenged, and if I don't know the answer to a question, I'm very, very confident to say I don't know that answer, but I'm going to go and find out. Um, so I love being challenged. I love it, and I'm open to learning. And Roger and I talk about this all the time because Roger and I are two literally completely different types of mediums, and I will on occasion not agree with what Roger says, but it does not mean that I have any
doesn't
less
know.
respect for him, not by any chance. I would, if I had no respect for Roger, I certainly wouldn't be sitting here while Formula One is on. So,
Right?
actually,
But
do you know
here's
for
the
next,
thing, Paul. Sometimes,
I can't wait till
sometimes
next
the
year.
easiest question is the
It's the
hardest question.
It's the hardest to answer.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people ask us, and I've absolutely no qualms in the fact that you will have been asked this a million times: is our friends and family okay?
Yeah.
And the answer is immediate. The millisecond they let go of this earth, they are instantly okay.
Yeah.
I mean, whoosh, like that. They are absolutely fine. They are safe. They are happier. They are bemused. Let's be straight about this. They don't wake up and go, oh my goodness, all of the knowledge that I had from previous lives has come, and I know who I am. No, that takes a little bit of time, but they are met by all of the loved ones that they lost, all of
Yep.
the ones that they had to mourn. So all of the people that you and I have sat down and cried over their loss, with me, with my parents, my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents. I know that when the day comes and I step across into that light and they're there waiting for me, what a party. What a PARTY. So they are instantaneously gratified with that reunification. Wow. So imagine that. Are they okay? In fact, they're way better than okay. Dawn what is a hard question for a medium? That is actually a hard question for medium. What is a hard question for a medium? That's hard. Anne-Marie says, when driving, does spirit tell you something abruptly? I've had
For
I've
me,
had instances
anytime.
where I've had instances where I've felt slow down, stop, don't go this way, don't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I've
yeah,
had
yeah.
that, yeah. But you also got to remember what you refer to is what is spirit. Roger and yeah, Roger definitely, and pretty much myself, very in tune with our guides. So when our guides talk to us, we kind of know that feeling. There's a frequency we get that there's a feeling like I know when they're talking to me. So when they say, "Listen, I wouldn't go out today," I pay attention. So yeah.
Like even right now, they're talking to me saying, tell the little guy to shut up.
Well, Mike Sean is going to be what a waste of your time, huh?
Oh Lord!
But
But
that's a good
seriously,
question,
we
Amber.
get here, Paul. I know you do, and I
Mm.
do it too. Wherever you are, it doesn't matter if you're in a restaurant, in a bar, in an elevator, whatever. Hey, someone comes out and says something to us.
I've got I mean, to be honest with you, I guess my training was quite intense, and that, if I'm standing in a queue, or if I'm standing, to pay for groceries or whatever like that, on occasion I'll pick up energy around me, or but that'll be the people that I'm picking up, the people who are in the queue. Um, I've been on stage. Actually, I've been standing behind a bank of keyboards, and a spirit has approached me. And during the break, the people that they wanted to talk to, oddly enough, came up to me and went, "You're that medium, aren't you?" And I went, "Yeah." And then they went, "Have you got anything for us?" Like
Right.
jokingly. And I went, "As it happens." And that has actually happened. My right hand to God, that's actually happened.
I remember
But
one
it's
time,
rare.
Paul. I remember one time. This is no lie. I was playing, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, I see a 45 gun pointed at me. I
Your
could
playing must have
describe
been
it. It
really
was like
bad.
gray and black handle. And I said, they were telling me somebody's going to get robbed.
Oof.
And when I told the guy who was announcing, I said, brother, I said, somebody's going to get robbed here. He goes, how do you know? I said, because the spirits just told me and they showed me the gun. Ooh. He goes, ooh, don't tell me that.
I was going to say that your playing must have been really bad for a gun to be pointed at you. Stop playing.
No, it was like they told me someone's going to get robbed. And I'm just like, no, not now. I'm playing.
Have you seen what Dawn's written there?
Is the earth
No, I know my loved ones are better than okay, and they just stepped out of their meat suits. Jeez,
a meat suit?
meat suits. And if you had that in a very New York accent, that would actually sound, "Hey, he just stepped out of his meat suit, huh?" you know.
So
Is the
this is
Earth
the
flat,
meat suit.
round, or gigantic or gigantic, and a crater that's much bigger than our planet? Dawn, one question at a time.
I'm going to say that it's round because when we were going to Paris, we're this way, and over here I could see black, and we went like this into it. It was really odd. I'll never forget that as long as I live.
Hmm.
I've never seen like you just took a big old can of paint and just black all across the sky, and then we went through it, and it was nighttime.
Yeah.
That just totally baffled me.
Um. The Well, I've seen the Earth and taken from because I visited the Kennedy Space Center, and they've taken many films and footages and things from di- distances away from the Earth, on their trips to the moon and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And the Earth is actually very close to the shape of a peanut.
Really?
Mm.
Wow.
It's not circular at all. What makes the Earth look circular or global is the atmosphere around the Earth. That makes it global looking, or like a marble or whatever connotation you want to use. But if you pulled away all of the atmosphere, the Earth itself is like a big rock, but it's very peanut shaped, like a
Wow.
misshapen peanut.
It's a new one on me. Now that
Well,
one I learned.
have you ever seen a flat picture of the globe? So if you take the globe and you lay it out flat like that,
I got it right there.
now if you try and join those together, what shape is it going to make? And not together as in the shape of a globe, but if you join them together. So if you overlay the right side over the left and then
Yeah.
look at it, you'll see the shape of a peanut.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, you're right. Because of the formation of the ground itself.
Exactly.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And you
Thank you,
know that
Professor.
you know, and if I remember correctly, I could be completely wrong here, and I'm very happy to be wrong. But what there's about a 200 foot, is it? No, 20 foot layer, and it's got a specific name like the stratosphere or the trionosphere or something that keeps us alive. That's it.
And without that, we'd be gone.
We'd be gone. It just the air would just go gone.
Wow.
And it's actually the hardest part for a rocket to penetrate, and it has to hit that at a great speed. Within 7 seconds of a rocket taking off from Cape Canaveral, it's already at supersonic speed, and then it has to literally get fired into space. You can't just, it's not like
Wow.
just passing through a cloud.
Look what Herbie says. Welcome to Astronomy
10,
101.
I'm a geek in that field. I used to spend weekends and at the local observatory, the Armagh Planetarium. I used to sit in the Gemini. Do you remember you remember the Gemini period,
Sure.
Roger? And the Mercury
Yes.
astronauts. I used to sit in a full replica of their spaceship. I used to sit there for hours listening to a replay of all of the chatter between them and Cape Canaveral.
Wow.
And I wore their suits. I had their helmet. I was able to put on their gloves, and I was at my absolute peace and tranquility. I could just stay there all day. And I remember thinking when I was a kid, when I grow up, I want to work here. I want to work here. So it's, oh, I love it. I go out every night without fail and just stare at the stars every night.
I'm a, like I say, I'm a moon guy.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
there's
know
that
why.
means something different over here, Roger. You just got to be aware of that.
Well, I like the moon, you know.
Yeah, when you moon somebody over here, it's a different
I know
connotation.
what you're saying.
When we moon people over here, it's like, okay, yeah, you don't want to do that. But
Hello, Richard Dearden. Richard's on what says you're
oh,
late.
Richard
But
says, "Oh dang, I did read that, and then I'm that my mind went to something else." He says, "Oh dang, I got in late." No, you're never late. Gosh, you're never late. Interesting. Everything has been so mixed up in our history, unless you've actually been up there. Who knows? Well, the troposphere. That's it. Well done, Anne-Marie. I wish you went off and looked it up. Do you believe in the firmament? Firmament, Roger, or have you seen the sky ice crystals?
I haven't seen them, and I honestly don't know what you're reference to. You know,
Me neither. Firmament. I'll have to go and look it up.
fermentation. I understand fermentation, but
Yeah, that's called beer.
right?
Um, do you know who invented the beer? Do you know who
No,
invented beer? Which race invented beer? I know.
Irish,
No,
Chinese.
Egyptians. The Egyptians.
Wow.
Yeah, Egyptians did.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
In Ireland, like when they didn't have refrigerators and whatnot, how did they keep everything cold?
We used to have pantries outside, and the pantries would be made of granite stone. And
Wow.
granite stone is very, very good at insulation, both for heat and for cold.
And here in the United States, in the old days, they would dig a trench or a hole
Uh huh.
and put wood around it like that, and they would consider that like an ice box, you know?
Yeah, but the funny thing about it is, there's more heat under the ground than there is above it,
I know that's crazy.
isn't it? In fact, the reason why I know that, and I sound actually quite clever for that moment in my life, is because that's actually one of the heating systems we're going to put in our new home. And it's called subterranean heating.
Wow.
Yeah, and they drill down, they put pipes down, and these pipes have water and heats the water, and that water stays at constant temperature, which keeps your house at a constant temperature.
Well, how do you turn it off then in the summertime?
You don't need to. It stays that way. It stays permanently that way.
Wow. Well,
And
poor Faye.
and then you can control the temperatures inside the house then from there on in with extra boost. Say if it's a freezing cold winter's night, then that you can control that. We've got under floor heating in our new home as well, so you can walk about barefoot.
Well, the oddity between Faye and I lived in Texas for 27 years, so I got used to the heat.
Yeah,
So I come up here and put the thermostat on 72. She wants it at 68.
yeah, it's because she's Celtic. She's
Yeah.
got Scottish blood. We like cool. See, I've often found it. And probably Faye will agree. Uh, I've often found it easier to warm up than it is to cool down. I prefer.
True.
I mean, I literally sleep with the window open no matter what time of the year.
Oh, boy.
I got to sleep with the window open. And not only did I have to sleep with the window open last night, but I put a fan on myself as well. Yeah.
Well, she
I-
left one of the windows open, and here, once again, a bat.
Kathy says we call it geothermal heating. There you go. You guys call it geothermal. We call it subterranean heating because it's the real proper way of calling it subterranean because you Americans get everything back in front. So, do, do you remember the hot rocks experiment they were doing down here, Paul? No, don't. Do tell. Do tell. Oh, by the way, Kathy, that was just a slight joke. Don't take it personally. Americans are not dumber. They just seem dumber. That's all. Roger's looking at me going, "What did you just? Did he? Did he just? Did he just say? Did he?" This hot rocks experiment. No, I haven't seen that, Dawn. That'd be something I'd be interested because Dawn lives around about 25 minutes from me, and so I'd be interested in seeing that because the where we live, where Dawn and I live, is where the most of the world's tin was produced. Where
Really?
Cornwall's well known, it's most known for its tin mining, and tin,
Wow.
the metal tin now is even more expensive than gold. Yeah, because you immediately when we say tin, you immediately think of like what you would keep beans in or what you would keep soup in or something like
Right.
that. But that's not tin. There's only a small amount of that metal is tin. Most of it's alloy and as you guys in America call it aluminum. But it's actually a very small amount of that is actually tin. But tin, the metal itself, is actually more expensive than gold.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that everybody tuned in today thinking this is a psychic show, but
Native Americans used to use fire pits. That's
yep,
where native wedding vows got its style. Love that idea,
they still
Marie.
do. They
Kathy
still have
says I'm
fire
of
pits.
Irish descent. There you go. That's because you live in New York. Irish. A lot of the Irish landed in New York. I'll find some info on hot rocks for you. That's cool. I'd be really interested in see that stuff. But none of you guys. I mean, we're chatting away about various subjects, mostly music today. But the reason there's always a spiritual background to it because Roger and I speak so fondly of our musical backgrounds and our musical history and our musical experiences, and it makes us feel inside like we've just had a really great meditation. You guys, I mean, I've been trying to teach you guys for the amount of years I've been on air to do exactly the same thing. Go and fill your life full of stuff that you can remember with total joy. Roger and I remember we've got such a unique life in the fact that we've had such a background that matches each other. We've got our historical events in relation to spiritual work are very, very similar, and our careers have been very, very similar. The only difference between Roger and I is I was a chef. I was a trained chef. So that's the only difference. But that was again a kind of like I kind of when I go into the kitchen, I kind of go into a meditative state. when I'm producing. I love cooking. I love cooking for my family, and but I when I'm in it and I'm preparing foods and I'm, whatever I'm doing, I'm just releasing. I'm getting rid of and any worries or stresses or angers. So it's
One
a release for me.
one of the key things that I tell Faye, if you're not gonna love what you're going to make, don't make it.
I would agree. Only Johanna loves cauliflower, and I hate cauliflower with a passion. I call it the devil's vegetable, and she has to have it at pretty much every meal. But because she needs a really intense,
Yeah.
um, driven, sort of highly driven, with vitamins and minerals and stuff to try and fight this cancer, I'll put myself out and do it. Otherwise, it, our diet would be different.
It's
This has
about
been a
that time,
very
buddy. What do you
interesting
think?
show today, says
Yes, it
Herbert.
is.
Well, how long have we got to be on for?
I don't know. They told us we can go for another half hour if I wanted.
Okay, well, I'm cool.
So
I'm
I don't know what everybody thinks, if they're sick of this or what.
no, well, nobody's putting questions in. How many times today have I said,
Yeah,
please
right.
put a question in?
Anybody have anything that they want to discuss?
Paul, do you ever get a recipe from the other side for recommendation? Actually, that's a
There
cool
you go.
question.
That's a good question.
No, I don't really. I don't really get recipes from the other side. Do I get motivation? Yeah, yeah. I do get motivation, but I'm a chef. I'm a chef in the sense that I went to college and trained and learned to be a chef in what you guys in America call culinary school. And then I was trained. I was very blessed. I was trained by Chef of the Year, and his second was also Chef of the Year. So I was trained at a very, very high level when I was going through my training in the early '80s. So when I open a cupboard now, I look at the ingredients, and my mind is already starting to put a dish together. So I will just look and go, that'll do that, that'll do that, and yeah, and I can remember flavors very easily, so I know that flavor will go with this, and this flavor will go with that, and so but I try and teach my daughters to do exactly the same thing. And one thing that I tell everybody is don't be afraid of the food. I've watched people
Yeah,
trying to cook and they're frightened of the food, and I say, "What? You're in charge. Don't be frightened of the
right.
food." And I'm forever saying to Maya, "Who's in charge? You or the food?" Well, I am. Well, remember that you're in charge. Don't be frightened of the food. Don't be frightened. I tell you what, you learn a lot more by getting it wrong. You will learn loads
Yeah.
more by getting wrong. And how do you think recipes came about in the first place? Recipes
Trial
came
and
about
error.
from trial and error.
Yeah.
Somebody thought, well, I'll give this a go, see what this tastes like. And then they go, or they go, wow, oh, maybe if I add this, or maybe if I add that, and so on and so forth. Like, for an example, if I'm making what you guys in the United States would call a gravy, we make a gravy over here. I'll make a gravy with, for an example, I'll use red onion, and then I'll use a splash of port in it.
Okay.
And the port enhances the beef flavor, it really pushes it up. And so next time you're making a gravy for your Sunday roast, for example, if you're making a beef for Sunday roast, give it a good glug of port, and I
Now,
promise you, it'll just enhance.
there's a difference. You didn't mention flour. That makes the gravy.
Well,
But if
no,
you're
that's
talking
only
about a drizzle,
no, that's an ingredient in the gravy. That doesn't make the gravy.
no, I know that, but I'm saying that you had to have the flour in there to
All
make
right,
it a gravy. But
what makes the
what you're
gravy?
talking about is a drizzle.
No, what makes the gravy?
All the ingredients.
No, no, no. What is the base root of gravy?
The I don't know.
Think about it. Think about it. So immediately put
Well,
yourself in. You're standing in your kitchen,
you said
and
the port.
no, no. Listen to me. Listen. So when you're right, Roger, you're cooking today. Okay, you've just cooked the roast, a lovely joint, a lovely beef joint, and you take it out. And by the way, a lot of people don't do this, but you should nearly rest the meat for as long as
Yeah,
you've cooked it. So you take it out, and you're left with what? All of the juices, or
yeah, of course.
the French call it a jus. Okay, that is your base for your gravy. Then you start to add
Right. Well,
ingredients.
that's why I mentioned the port. You said the port, so there's your juice right
Yeah.
there.
So what I would tend to do is I'll make the base. So I'll part fry some of these beautiful red onions. Then I'll add in the port, and the port then enhances that up. Then I'll add the jus from the beef, and then you don't actually need flour to thicken it up. You can, but you don't need to. You can reduce it over time and just let it continue to reduce, and then you'll have a beautiful gravy. But there's multiples of ways. There's a thing called a beurre manier, where you get a little bit of flour and a little bit of butter, and you knead them together, and you drop that into the gravy, and that'll thicken it up. That's called a beurre manier.
But
Um,
are you talking then a sense of oh God, what was the word that I wanted to use? I had a senior moment. But many a time I've cooked and I just let it rest,
mm,
okay, and then I take those juices and mix those juices for a drizzle, okay, and I
with
have the tendency. I don't know if you do this, Paul, but if I make a roast or whatever, I have a tendency to cut squares in it
yeah, yeah,
because I want all that stuff to go sink in,
yeah. So you cut that prior to cooking, right? You
Yeah.
put
Oh
those.
yeah.
You. It's There's a technical term for that. It's called. It'll come to me in a minute. But that's and those slices, if you want to call it, that you've put into the fat or whatever. That's where you want to rub in the salt and herbs
Yep.
into that,
Because it stays
and
in.
you know, and then obviously go over with that, and then obviously the drippings or the juices that are the jus that comes off the meat. That's in fact, if you can, you should always make your gravy in the very tray that you've roasted the beef in, because it's getting all the sediments and all the flavors.
Yep.
God, I'm dribbling now because I'm thinking, oh, I can't wait. But
I
tomorrow,
watch I watch Jacques all the time.
Jacques, yeah. We tomorrow we've taken recently to cooking with what's called spatchcock chicken. Okay, so it's a chicken with the backbone taken out of it, and the chicken's flat. You
Okay.
ever seen spatchcock chicken?
Sure.
It cooks much more evenly and there's a better flavor with spatchcock chicken than a full chicken, and it's also safer because the chicken cooks much more evenly. But we've taken to that, so I've got that on the menu tomorrow. I've got garlic butter and herb potatoes
Ooh.
coming. I've got roast potatoes that are kind of in duck fat. I've got a mixture of vegetables.
Boy,
Oh
you
yeah,
just
and
doing it to
then
me.
I've got apple crumble for dessert. Wow. Oh.
And I got to go home and have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Well, I'll eat it in front of you. So
Thank you. You're all heart.
oh, I tell you, I do love I love cooking. I love cooking, and I
One
do a
thing
lot
I
of
like to
stuff
do,
like that.
Paul, is take a chicken and I'll cut like in between the skin itself and I'll
Yeah,
stick pieces of butter in there.
yeah. That's the way you should. You under the skin and the
Yeah.
meat. Yeah, that you should. Get yourself a nice. You can make your own herb butter. Okay, you get your different herbs and you mush it together and then roll it into a sausage. Put it in the fridge. You can use it for as long as you like, but put that between the skin and the flesh. So push your as you lift the chicken back, push your finger up in through,
Yep.
in so you got the flesh under your palm. Then push the butter up into that. Oh my god! Yeah. Oh my
And then all
god.
your on top.
Yeah, and then rub butter onto the skin of the
Yep.
chicken, and that will make the chicken skin crackle up. Crackling.
One thing a lot of people have the tendency to do, Paul, that I've seen this mistake over and over again.
Uh-huh.
They have the tendency to turn up the heat. And I tell them, no, slow cooking.
Slow cooking is better. I'll agree with you
Yes.
100%. However, if you want to, for the last sort of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whack the heat up full then, because that'll crackle up the skin quickly. But you don't need slow cooking makes for a much more subtle and much more juicier meat.
Yep.
Slow the cooking down. A lot of people don't. You don't do it with chicken, but a lot of people don't seal their meat, and you should. So before, if you got a joint of beef, for an example, seal it. So you get a frying pan out and you put the pan on really, really hot. You can put a little bit of oil in there, and then you literally seal the beef. So put it in there, brown it on all sides, then put it in the oven
Yeah, that's what
um,
I do.
at
Exactly.
a low temperature, because
Yep.
that's called. Then you'll seal all the juices inside. But don't, never be frightened. Never be afraid to try recipes. Never be afraid of the food. You're the master of the kitchen, and trust me, your family won't care if you get it slightly wrong. Don Haddam says, "And trifle for oysters." I love trifle. I love it.
I don't know what
I
that is.
absolutely love trifle. Oh my god, when you come over here, Roger, I will put a full trifle together, and you will
Anne
just
Marie wants to know what time dinner is.
dinner tomorrow on a Sunday. Bearing in mind it's an F1 race on, it'll be after the F1 race. But usually around 7 p.m. Usually around there. Barbecue rule: low and slow.
That's
I
right.
think that's cool, Richard. Yeah, I agree
Yep,
with that.
that's right.
Do you know what I do these days? I get a chef to do all the work.
Well, yeah, if you can afford it,
Nah, no, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. I do. I mean, Johanna said, we were looking at buying a hotel, and she goes, "I'll never get you out of the kitchen." And I went, "Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right." And she go, "Why would you want to work in it? Because there's such a great
Create,
atmosphere."
not work.
But my favorite part, oddly enough, was in as Dawn puts it, my favorite in all of the jobs that I had as a chef, and I went through all of the ranks. The job that I hated the most was executive chef. I
Because
hated that the
everybody
most.
comes to you.
No, you're the boss. You're
Yeah.
the boss, and I hated it. And you know what? Because you don't get to cook. You're too busy. It becomes business then.
Yeah.
And the job that I loved the most though was chef pâtissier, which it's pastry chef, and I loved that. Oh my god, I was in my element then. I was just happy. And you know what the nicest part of that, Roger, is the chef pâtissier's kitchen is cool. It's temperature cool,
Wow.
so it's very cool because you've got to work with pastries and it has to be cool. You know, so I just love it. Oh yeah,
One thing I do a lot of times, Paul, I close my eyes and I visualize everything that I'm going to put together.
yeah.
And then I go to the kitchen and bang, create.
Yes. Yes. I was teaching Maya because Maya's doing, I don't know what the equivalent you guys have in the United States, but we have over here called GCSE exams, which is your final exams of high school before you go to college. And she was doing catering as one of those GCSE exams she was doing. And I said to her, "Okay, what's the time plan?" And she goes, "I have no idea." I said, "Well, they haven't taught you a time plan in catering?" She goes, "No." I said, "Well, what have they been teaching you? Because time plan is one of the very first things you need to learn."
Right.
And she said, "Well, okay, Dad, tell me what a time plan is." I said, "Okay, let me just show you what a time plan is. What are you going to cook tonight?" "Okay, I'm going to do prawn cocktail for starter. Okay, I'm going to do roast chicken for the main course and some vegetables, and I'm going to do a let's just choose a trifle for dessert." I said, "Okay, which takes the longest to cook?" "Well, the trifle." "Okay, so which has got to go in first?" "Oh, I see what you mean. So the time plan is what needs to be done at certain times so that the whole meal finishes at the same time."
Yep.
Ah, she goes,
And
"No, they didn't
nothing's
teach us
colder
that."
than the other.
Well, she said they didn't teach her that. And I was like, that's basic knowledge. You got to learn that. That's highly important. I mean, I suppose as a professional chef, you can't have people coming down into your restaurant and going, "Can I have a prawn cocktail?" "Oh, no, I forgot to defrost the prawns." So, no. SATs and Anne-Marie says the United States got it. Herbert Lopez says, "Of course you get a chef to do the work because you are the chef."
There it is.
Yeah. Actually, the weird thing about it is sometimes the family take that to the wrong extreme. They start saying, "Well, I would fancy this and I want that," and I walk out to the front of our house and I go, "No, this is not a restaurant." And they go, "Okay, Dad, what's for dinner?" And my mom used to say, I used to say to my mother, "Hey, mom, what's for dinner?" She goes, "Whatever's sitting in front of you when you sit down."
Right.
Okay, okay. And I was her in a bad mood.
And then you had to be there at a certain time because if you weren't, you weren't eating.
If you weren't, you weren't, not only were you not eating, but your food would have been distributed through the rest of the people who did make it on time. Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Or she would have then went and cooked something that she knew you hated, and you had to sit down and go, a plate full of cauliflower. You go, "There's no way on this earth I'm sitting to eat. You'll eat what I tell you to eat." Then you'll go without. "I'll go without tonight. Thank you very much." "Where are you going?" "I'm not going. I'm going to go without." "You got the dishes to do yet?"
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what though, Roger? As we sit and chat and we have a giggle, there is nothing in my past I would change. Not
Well,
a
there
thing.
are some for me, but
I mean, even the tough. But people say I would bypass the tough times. I bypass the negatives, but you shouldn't. And the reason being is you should always remember what you learned from those
right.
negatives, because those negatives are also a part of what make you who you are today.
Yep.
Okay, there was a lot of negatives in my history. I grew up at a time where where I lived in Ireland was at war. There was people getting shot and blown up left and right. Um, and for all of those people who lost their lives through the troubles of Ireland, I have my heart goes out to. In fact, I had family members myself who lost their lives through that. But all of that period and all of the other periods of my life go to make me who I am today. So if I was to eliminate all of those negatives and just have a very, very happy life, would I be doing what I am today? You see my
Probably
point?
not.
So it's not a matter of trying to eliminate what went wrong in your life. It's to incorporate everything you learned in your life.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. Richard says, I got something going to happen in July again. I got that something going to happen in July. Whatever that something is, good luck with it. We introduced gratitude meal. If someone says they don't like food, the next day it's a rice day.
That's a
I
good
like
one.
rice, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's good.
I never regret one single day, says Dawn Haddam. You wouldn't be who you are without them. There you go. Amen, baby. Amen. I tell you what, I gotta press a button, do you guys? Otherwise, Roger gets in trouble, and maybe I shouldn't press it because he gets in trouble, not me.
You are listening to UPRN, United Public Radio Network, coming to you live on 105.3 right up to 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. UPRNTalkRadio.com.
So, where would you be without me? Hmm? Where? Don't you
You
look at me
really
like
want
that?
to know?
Don't look at me like. Where would you be without me? Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Do you know what, Roger? Do you see the background that we have today?
Yes.
That is exactly what it's like here today.
All
Only
the green grass and all that.
yeah, but only there isn't a single cloud. Not a
Wow.
single cloud in the sky. It's hot. Anne-Marie says, is that your voice? Yes, it's my voice, Anne-Marie. You are listening to UPRN Talk Radio. That's my radio voice. Herbert says, what seems funny to me is that everyone can be considered a chef because, or even if a scientist, because they're all experimenting with your ingredients.
Well, that's basically what a chef does.
Yeah. There, you can be a chef and you can be a professional chef. They're two different things,
Right.
but you know. When I grew up in the industry, it was precious. It was, I suppose it still is, I guess. It was precious. You didn't earn your hat or become you didn't earn the right to be called a chef until you had done the time. Until you had done the time. Roger, let me just give you an idea. 5 years of college learning business, 5 years of college learning catering, and chefing and all of the bits and pieces. Went 5 years of that. Okay. And when I got into work in the hotel, I was allowed to take the bins out. That was it.
Wow. After
Okay.
all of that,
After all of that. And then after I was allowed to take the bins out, I was then allowed to make sandwiches.
huh?
Yeah. And then those sandwiches needed, and they had to be cut exactly correct, or they weren't allowed to go out. And then after I did a stint on this, what's called the starter section of the kitchen, I was then sent into the restaurant to work for 6 months as a waiter. They went, now you'll learn how to present it before you're allowed to even go near the ingredients.
Jeez, it sounds like what I went through.
Oh, but
I
you know
was
what?
good for
I
5
wouldn't
years,
change
so.
it. I wouldn't change it. I had a huge respect for the kitchen, huge respect, and huge respect for the guys who were teaching me. They didn't have to teach me. They didn't have to give me a job. You know, and I remember working every single week, long hours as chefs do, from 10 in the morning off until 10 at night, every night of the week. And I took home what would be the equivalent of $35 a week.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
But then there's some chefs that let it go to their head, you know?
Are you talking about Gordon?
Well, no, aside from him. I mean, I've been with some that they really thought, and you just want to punch the guy, you know?
Oh, there's been a few guys. There's been one that my brother and I worked in a beautiful hotel here in the UK, and there was a guy there, and he was so obnoxious and so condescending that one day both Pete and I, it's almost like that we had actually rehearsed it, but we hadn't even spoken about it, and the two of us reached for him at the same time, pulled him right across the hot plate, and he received a couple of Irish howdy do's before he hit the ground. And needless to say, he left a couple of days after that. Don't know why.
But you'd think it would have been the other way around where you two get fired. No.
No, I think well, actually, I think he'd caused ruckuses in different areas of not only the kitchens but the restaurants. But he got right across the hot plate.
But you got to. The one thing that I've learned about business and all that is that if a chef cannot work with his people, what good are you?
Well, yes, you're absolutely right. But also, what good is a chef if he can't work with these people?
That's what
It's
I meant.
two-way. It's two-way. If you can be a chef and have a bunch of idiots around you, and no matter
then-
how good you are,
Yeah,
you know
because
the
it all
food's
goes
never going to
back
get.
to you.
Yeah, it comes back to you. And then the other side of that coin is you can be a right uppity chef and have a wonderful team, but it still will go wrong. Now, let's translate that across the stage. I always said I'd rather have an adequate musician with a great attitude than a great musician with a bad attitude.
Right.
And so, it keeps coming back and forth into the similarities.
A lot of guys didn't want to work with me because of the fact that I knew too much music. And I told them this. I said, look, you can get mad at me all day long, but I am trying to teach you something.
Yeah. Learn.
And
Shut
I
up
would
and
tell
learn.
them this. Shut up and learn.
Shut up and learn. Yeah. Pick up everything you can. I've said to all of my students, even that the people that I've taught the mediumship and psychic development, personal development, I've always said to them, watch as many different psychic mediums as you can. But even if they're terrible, you might pick up one thing that they've done and you think, oh,
Right.
I like that. I used to send them to watch there are some absolutely cringe-worthy idiots over here in the UK. I mean, total and utter idiots. But they may do that one thing, that one time that you might think, I like that. And incorporate, because how many times have you heard me, Roger, say, no two mediums are the same. You will
Right.
become your own medium or your own psychic.
Yep.
Let's have a look at what everybody is saying. It's a beautiful day, says Dawn. I knew exactly what she was doing. I got got a head out to class in 5 minutes. Have a wonderful. All right, Anne-Marie. Have a great
You
day.
too,
Have a
dear.
great day.
I
I
like what
did a
Lynn
basic.
Fern put.
I did basically the same thing at culinary schools as Herbert Lopez. I trained your in hair, says Dawn. Years of making drinks, sweeping up, shampooing. Oh yeah, yeah, and everybody should do. Uh, that's what I do with Paul, says Lynn. Shut up and learn. Oh, she shuts up and learns. That's what she's saying. That's what I do with Paul.
Right.
I shut up and learn.
Okay.
I've got a whole realm of jokes coming in, but I am resisting. So, Roger, how much time we got? We got literally, it's literally nearly
5 minutes?
6:30 here. We got about 6 minutes, haven't we?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So the next show is Monday night at 8 p.m. UK time, which will be 3 p.m. your time.
No, 2
Come
p.m., Paul, for me
2
on
p.m. for
Monday.
you. So 3 p.m. Eastern and 2 p.m. Central.
Yep.
And that'll come and join us for Reach Across Live. And I will invite Roger back so you can see how it's done properly. And then you can listen to Roger. So and
Oh,
we'll
Lord.
do some readings together, because why not? We had a great time. Everybody enjoyed it the other day. It's good fun. And then we have Roger's Latino Psychic Visions on Wednesday night. Which time? At what time?
That comes on at 4 in the afternoon, my time.
Okay,
GMT
which
time is
is
10 o'clock, isn't it?
was 10 p.m. for us here,
Yeah, I believe
because
so.
you used to come on at 1 o'clock in the morning for us.
No, since we got on this, they changed our time, so.
Oh, okay. So don't forget, that's Latino Psychic Visions on Wednesday, and then back again with Spirit Quest on Thursday.
Right.
And then coming up in the not too distant future, I may have to go away for a couple of days. So you could probably have Roger for an entire week. Because I'm going to get him to sit in for me and run Spirit Quest and run Reach Across and run Latina Psychic Visions and run This Mug's for You, and then he'll be running away.
Well, there's an old saying, Paul. I don't know how to run a nylon with a nail.
So those are coming up, but well, we'll figure it out one way or the other. But I do know I have to go to Ireland for some very serious meetings and stuff of that nature. Donald Haddam says, "I do like you guys together. You're like the two Ronnies." Everybody in UK will know what she's talking about. The Americans will be going, "What does that mean?" With the two Ronnies would be very similar to Abbott and Costello.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of any American TV shows that you guys would have had on a weekly basis.
The Smothers Brothers.
We wouldn't know what that is, but
They were two brothers. One played guitar, the other one played bass. And
did you see what Dawn just wrote there? I'll annoy Roger while you're away, Paul. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Roger, this mug's for you.
This has been, to me, a very enlightening show. We went from soup to nuts, per se.
Yeah.
And we covered a lot of area. And a lot of people know how to cook. A lot of people know about music. They know that a piper cub above your head is a perfect E chord.
There you go.
I mean, come on. How much more... Then they want us to teach you how to do
we
psychic.
talked about the world being the shape of a peanut.
Right.
And we talked about ground source heating.
Right. We just covered it all.
We had a lot of fun
and
today.
Paul, honestly, thank you so much, because I couldn't have done this thing alone. I know that.
No, you could have. You could have easily done this. But the point of the matter is, you invited me here, and that's an honor. And I don't look at it any less.
But I look at you as my brother, you know.
Ditto.
And besides, you got the jingle, I don't.
You can clip the jingle's on. It's on there. You just got to click on it.
I don't know how to do all that stuff. And maybe it's good that I don't know.
No, I'll make you your own jingle. but I'll get you to do the talking on it. So I'll get you to record your voice going,
Hola,
um,
amigos.
"Hey, hola amigos, come and watch on my show. Are these mugs for you?"
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a treasure today, man. This was something else.
It
For
was
me,
fun.
it's been good.
It's been fun. I've enjoyed every moment. And until we see you we'll see you Monday. Sorry, I will say adieu.
And I will say adios.
Hasta luego.
Yes, hostile burrito.
Hasta burrito. That's what you're going to have for tea tonight. Burritos.
Yep.
You guys are surrounded in beautiful pearl green, and I see a bromance going on. We've had a bromance for many years now. And it gets stronger and stronger as the weeks go on.
Amen.
And I'm truly honored to be asked to come here. That's an honor, and
Honor's mine, Paul.
I don't take lightly. Even though he didn't even offer me a single cup of coffee.
Look what I'm drinking. Water.
Me too.
I don't have any coffee.
And I finished
at all.
mine. Look, it's empty.
Well, I'm about
I was full
there.
when I sat down. But it's roasting hot here today. But I'm not going to complain. The heat's lush. As Dawn will say, the Cornish will say, see directly. See directly. Listen, until
Take care,
Monday
everyone.
night. Good night, good afternoon, good morning. God bless. And may
Have
the
a
Lord
great
watch and
weekend.
take
The
care
rest
of
of
you.
your weekend.
And may the angels protect you until we see you again.
Amen.
See you soon.